Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Welcome. Welcome, the Hawaii State Commission on Fatherhood. Today is Friday, September 19th, 2025. The time is 10:05, and I am confirming that we have quorum. We have myself, Commissioner Esmond, and just reading in the order of my screen, Commissioner Augustine, Commissioner Oliphant, Commissioner Chauhan, and Commissioner Sunio. Before we get started, because I have formally stepped down as chair, we need to nominate and elect a chair pro tem, which holds just for today's meeting so that whoever it is that is nominated and elected can actually run the meeting. And I'd like to throw out if there's any nominations for chair pro tem today.
I nominate Jeff Esmond to get a chair for today.
Thank you, Marty. Is there any second?
Second.
Thank,
Alan.
thank you, Commissioner Snell. I would like to ask if there is any discussion or public testimony about this nomination that's on the floor. None being that, I think I can call for an actual election among the voting commissioners. All those in favor of electing myself, Commissioner Esmond, as chair pro tem for today's meeting, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
I am confirming that it is unanimous, and thank you, everybody. It's an honor to be your chair pro tem today. I'm going to start off reading the mission statement and then going to get to a few brief words and introductions. The mission statement. The mission of the Hawaii State Commission on Fatherhood is to promote healthy family relationships by emphasizing the importance of fathers in the lives of children. The Commission serves in an advisory capacity to state agencies and makes recommendations on programs, services, contracts, policies, and laws relating to children and families. Happy to see all of you here. Welcome to a couple of former commissioners. We will get to full introductions in a moment. Welcome to Commissioner Alston, who has just joined us at 10:07. My name is Commissioner Jeff Esmond. I am at DHS today. I live in Kahalu, longtime resident of Kahalu here in Oahu, over 30 years. And I am the former chair. And this is formally my last meeting that I plan to run. And I'm hoping to have a smooth transition. I'm going to do what I can to make this a nice transition to a new chair. And so I put a lot of stuff together in this meeting to talk about um, the role as chair, as well as trying to kickstart our current fiscal year. We also have an exciting guest speaker and a video and some other stuff going on. So there's a lot to do. I want to send a huge mahalo to everyone who has joined us. I'm going to ask for some introductions. I'm going to go in seniority order, starting with Commissioner Sunio. If you would please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are, and anything you're looking forward to in the current fiscal year, as this is the first meeting of this fiscal year.
Morning, everybody. Alan Sanu, original founder for the Coalition of Dads that kickstarted the commission. I am at my home office right now, and I am alone. Just got back last Saturday from spending 3 weeks in Japan and Korea, which was a real experience. It's beautiful, but it was hot and humid. But it was a nice time. Enjoyed ourselves there. I'm just hoping, as our commission builds, we're able to get more things done as a group, and we keep getting good members in. And I apologize that I haven't been able to make a lot of the meetings also, but I feel good about the group that we have. We just somehow just got to be able to get together and start working on some projects. So I'm hoping that we can start doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sunio. Thank you also for a reminder for everyone to please state the name of anyone present. if they are over the age 18 or if they're under the age 18 and have business before the commission. Moving on, believe it or not, I'm the next person in seniority, but I've already introduced myself. So moving to Commissioner Alston.
Thank you, Jeff. My apologies for being late. I am joining you from my office here at the shelter. Part of my work is with a domestic violence and sexual assault emergency shelter on Kauai. So no one's in the office with me. Just returned myself from a domestic violence conference that was held in the state of Washington. So I just got back the other night from that, and very informative. Um, Grateful to be here. I represent the island of Kauai. And like Alan, looking forward to the things that we can accomplish together and hoping we can talk a little bit about that today as well. And looking forward to our guest speaker. So thank you, Jeff, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Commissioner Alston. I feel like I read a lot of good stuff coming out of Kauai. I thought there was a story this week about a grant or something for children or something. It seems like some good stuff going on over there.
Yeah.
Moving on to Commissioner Oliphant.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Marty Oliphant. I'm from Oahu, the windward side. Glad to be here as well. So thank you all for, and no one's in the room with me that I'm in right now. So thank you.
Commissioner Chauhan.
Hello, nice to see everyone. I am Neil Chauhan. There's no one in the room with me. I'm on Oahu and Honolulu, right next to Queens. And yeah, nice to be here. I've missed, I think, a couple of meetings, so my apologies for that. But hoping in the this fiscal year that I can be more present.
Thank you, Commissioner Chauhan. Definitely looking forward to that. And finally, we have Commissioner Augustine.
Aloha, Commissioner Mark Augustine, here in the room by myself, from Maui. I currently reside in Kahului, and super excited for this year to, yes, do more projects, get the word out about who we are as a commission in the state of Hawaii. I think that's one of my main things is promoting the commission, what we do, what we can do, and just super excited to be here. So glad to see everybody again.
Great to have you join us, and I love your DJ setup you got going over there with the good mic.
Thank you.
Moving on to our non-voting members, our ex officios, and I'd love to get a fuller slate of ex officios joining our meetings on a regular basis. I know the other two that normally join us both reached out to me to let me know they were unable to come today, sign on today. I do encourage all of our ex officios to participate in the meetings. We're allowed to talk and be on screen, but I'd like to welcome representing the Director of Human Services, John Kimura.
Hello, ex officio designee for DHS, John Kimura. I think the only updates that we have is we're currently in conducting interviews for the administrative assistant position. So that could, once we hire, that could help out this commission as well as the LGBTQ commission. That's all I have. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And moving on to our Deputy Attorney General for Sunshine Law, Deputy Erin Yamashiro.
Hi, everybody. I'm Deputy Attorney General Erin Yamashiro. I'm here just to advise on the Sunshine Law for the meeting. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to our guests. I'm actually happy. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 guests today, if I got that count right. I'm going to start with our representative from Kailua, Mike Lee.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. Really excited to attend the meeting today. I have a personal and professional interest in not only supporting men and their mental health and their role as fathers in all of our children's lives, but really the way they participate in society. So I had kind of looked at introducing a bill that may help support some of these facets, and I found out about the Fatherhood Commission. So we've been talking story a little bit back and forth. So I'll do my best to attend these meetings and learn what's going on and see how we can support you, in the future legislatively. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Representative. Super excited to have you. We've had a few conversations, hoping to continue on and increase our legislative involvement as a commission, which I hope to stay participating with. Thank you very much. And going to our former commissioners, I can't tell you how happy I am to have you here in your seniority order, starting with the chair who preceded me, but he's no longer a commissioner, Kavika Matos.
Loka Kayaka, good morning, everybody. Good to be on. It's an honor to be on. I called in sick with my part-time job and then remembered you folks had the meeting. So yeah, coming in from Maui, Mark is representing Maui well. So good to be with you all. My friends, my friends.
Great to have you here. Thank you very much. And our most recent commissioner, I cannot call him commissioner anymore, Alan Cardenas.
Hello, everybody. Great to see you folks. Happy Aloha Friday. Alan Cardenas Jr., former commissioner from the island of Oahu. I just love and appreciate what you guys are doing. I believe in the importance of fatherhood, so I want to stay connected and see what I can do to add strength and add value from where I'm at. So great to see all of you. Hello.
Thank you. And just to clarify, former Commissioner Cardenas termed out. He served his 2 terms, which just ended on June 30th. So glad to have you join us. Moving on to a current applicant in the never-ending process to bring on a new commissioner, Lowell Jerry.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Lowell Gary. I forgot when I put in my application. Honestly, it seems like it's been over a year. But yeah, I certainly believe in the importance of fatherhood. I would love to be a part of the commission, help encourage more dads to stay at home, and you know, keep families together. I think that's very important. But yeah, if I can get this application approved, if I can get on the commission, I'd love to help with the quorum and help with the discussion. It would be great. And thank you for the introduction. It was good to see you.
We'd love to have you join us. I will I'll give a bit of an update later, but just so you know, after this meeting, I do plan to walk over to the state capitol and hope to achieve something, but it's a real challenge. But I'm doing what I can do.
I feel you. It's kind of, it seems metaphorical in a way, like we need to we definitely need to shine the light on fatherhood here, but thank you, Jeff.
And finally, Kim Krell.
Good morning, everybody. I'm the executive director with Parents Inc. Really glad to be here. Hope to continue more actively. We did start teaching our 24/7 dads, our fatherhood program. We're about halfway through the first cohort. I don't know if you've ever heard of that curriculum, 24/7 dads, but it's nationally recognized. It's a big movement. And I have that. I'd like to introduce someone that's in the room with me. His name is Matt, and he is the one that teaches my fatherhood curriculum.
Hi, hopefully you guys can see me. Yes, I'm the one that's I'm the program facilitator for the Fatherhood program. It's coming out of the National Fatherhood Initiative over on the mainland. And it's an interesting program. This is the first time I've gone through it. We had session last night and we did mental health, which was definitely an interesting one to, mental and physical health. So we also like even asking questions as simple as when was the last time you went to a doctor? And yeah, it was interesting having the dads ask that. Most of my dads are they're on probation right now. And so that's where we've been getting some of our folks coming into the program. They're being allowed to do this in lieu of, in some cases, in lieu of like some community service stuff and a
Yeah.
couple other things. So, yeah, it's a really important population to be working with as well. Thank you.
I apologize. I didn't get his name.
My name is Matthew or Matt, either one. Last name Malden, Mauldin.
And anybody can attend these classes from any island. It is via Zoom.
Yeah.
So for our newer commissioners, our commission has had an amazing relationship with Parent Seek in the past. I believe that relationship was facilitated very much by our former commissioners, Alan Cardenas and Kuka Matos. And Parent Seek has gone through some transition from the long time, I don't know the title, CEO director, I'm not sure the title, executive director, Lisa to another ED to someone else. So we're hoping we can bring back and strengthen that relationship that we once had. We do have one more guest. I'm going to hold off on introducing her because she is our guest speaker, which we will get to in about a minute. I'm going to share my screen for a moment. It's the first time I've been back at DHS doing this on my little laptop, so I appreciate patience with my technology here. Okay, before we get to our guest speaker, I would like to ask if there's any public testimony. Okay, so today I'm very excited to introduce, and I need to give a special thank you to Commissioner Alston who made this connection. Today we have the executive director of the Hawaii State Commission on the Status of Women, and Commissioner Alston had a connection with her, connected us, and I decided to get her on our agenda as soon as possible. I had other plans, and she's going to talk a little bit about her commission and what she does and the potential of is there any way for us to work together. And I'm going to turn this over to her. Her name is Yasmin Cheney.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. So sorry that I'm not in front of my computer screen as I had planned. My building lost internet access. So I'm here in person. And thank you for having me. I am the new executive director for the Commission on the Status of Women. I came in December 2024, and I am the product of being raised by a primary caregiver that was dad. So my dad was my primary caregiver. And so the importance of fathers within my own personal life is huge, because I really feel like that relationship set the foundation for me throughout my whole life. And given that your commission is under DHS, just as my commission is, I felt like while I was reading the statute for our respective commissions, there was quite a bit of opportunity where we might be able to collaborate with one another, given the focus on healthy families and parenting practices and best practices. My commission's focus is working on equal opportunity and treatment for women, but also looking at the needs and responsibilities, program development, educational information. And some of the things that I'm hoping to focus on is health and safety. And I feel like in this moment in time, our children and our adults, a lot of people are really struggling right now in terms of well-being and having an opportunity to thrive. And I just was hoping that we could have a conversation or maybe start an ongoing relationship where we can partner to put out information or do projects or hold space to support positive parenting skills for fathers, and also thinking about how we can support parents to raise children that are healthy. Some of the recent kind of research is advocating for child rearing that has children that are raised to understand that they'll need to have a capacity for toughness and fallibility, gentleness and emotionality, wild courage, and an ability to nurture. And I feel like that's something that could benefit both of the groups that we're trying to support through our respective commissions. So that's really what I wanted to talk about and hold space for today. I don't have a formal presentation. My background is in human development and family studies. That's my undergrad, and my master's degree is in clinical social work for children and families. And so that's the lens that I'm approaching this kind of work. And I don't know if it's brochures, curriculum, websites, events. I'm not sure how it coalesces. I'm really just here to start the conversation and be available to partner with you guys in the way that you think might be best to move forward in alignment with your mandate. That's really all I have to say, and I'm here for discussion and thoughts and kind of any other questions you folks might have.
You know, one of the things, thank you so much, first of all, and for wanting to come to talk with us, Yasmin, and also Jeff, thank you for making this happen. You know, one of the things that was so clear in my mind, and has been for a long time, is how do we as separate commissions work together? You know, we can talk about men and women, we can talk about you know, partnerships and families, et cetera. But how do we model in a professional way? You know, how do we model connection, right? And especially as you so rightfully share that we share a mandate in many ways. And so one of the thoughts that had come to my mind was, might there be an activity or a gathering, you know, that we can sponsor together? It could be around a particular topic. It could be around a particular event. It could be something already on either one of our calendars, but we include the other, you know. And it becomes something that we might do more than once, or it becomes something that we might see what happens from there, you know, so that we establish a connection, a way of gathering and connecting our organizations for some type of event, some type of gathering. The other piece to that for me then was the ability that we have to bring, perhaps like-minded or not, folks together for these conversations. You know, we live in a world that's increasingly polarized for different reasons. And how might we bridge those gaps between with regards to gender in particular, men and women in particular. How do we bridge those gaps? So that generally was in my mind, in my heart, as I was looking forward to a presentation like this. Could we have an event that we do together? Could we have a gathering that we sponsor? A way of having dialogue, um, and that may impact, as you mentioned, families, the community, etc. So thank you again. Thank you.
Yeah, it's thank you for sharing and thank you for being here. I think it's awesome that we could have this discussion, have this collaboration, have these ideas um, being talked about. Because I do believe I'm on board with Brian and also you, Yasmin, in what you're talking about in the collaboration of partnering up together, doing an event that might be on the same calendar or might already be on the calendar, or even coming up with something and just knowing what we're doing. Like, what are you doing? What types of events are you already doing? I would like to have those on our calendar and have it on our phone and have it on, so we know what's going on and we can promote these things within our subdivisions. And, let's say, for example, you're talking about a curriculum, you're talking about 24/7 dad. And Kavika and myself, Kavika being the supervisor of Kane Connections and running that curriculum for, I think he said 10 to 15 years already, here in Kahului, Central Kahului. And being able to see how you guys do that, Kim and Matt, and then also like taking a look at parenting curriculums that are already out there. Life Skills has a parenting specific parenting program. It's, I believe, 7 weeks cohort. Guiding Good Choices is the one that I use. And what do you guys use already, and taking a look at what worked, what hasn't worked, in that education piece. You talked about an education piece and parenting skills and teaching parenting skills, and those things like that, like Life Skills, Guiding Good Choices, can be really well. And there's things that are out there that are cultural too, that are already going on right now, that we can also implement, that are evidence based, programs. And so just kind of just being in network and communication. Let's get these emails going and text messages. Texas. I like text message because it's right there. It's immediate. So like, what types of things are you doing? What education pieces do you have in place already right now? So that's a question for you, Yasmin. What curriculums are you using right now for parents, for the women, and just parents in general?
Yeah, we don't have curriculum around that because my commission isn't focused on parenting per se. Your commission holds that space within the state. And so the curriculum, there is some trainings that have been done around some gender-based violence pieces in terms of what that looks like, and then some support that we've done to support women that, like women leadership, or prepping them to run for office. And so those are some of the pieces that my predecessors have worked on, but my commission's a little bit different than yours in the sense that given that we have an executive director, like a lot of the commissions have vested in me the ability to move the work forward on a kind of 40-hour a week basis. And I have like this broad scope. And so there is an expectation and a hope that trainings and educational materials will be developed and supported. And so should we decide to collaborate with one another, or do some like cross commission educational materials that we're going to push out to the community. That's something that I could work on with whoever from this group is going to be working on it. And I don't know if that's through a PIG or, coming to meetings on, some amount of basis as we do this work together. So that's kind of how it works for us. And I think not everybody knows this. So I came from Sex Abuse Treatment Center. I had been working in sexual violence prevention for the past 5 years. And so that's the lens that I'm coming from. And I built out some parent trainings for that. I did staff trainings for that to support SATC's K through 12 curriculum for kids. So that's the lens that I had previously been at. But where I am now is really thinking about how do we, for me, it's like the two main areas that I felt like there's overlap. It's like, how do we support dads, right? Or parents, if you want to broader, to have, good parenting skills, right? Do we identify a curriculum? Are we messaging out a certain curriculum? Or are there pieces that we're advocating for as best practices? And then, is there any interest to do messaging or holding space for supporting parents to focus on child rearing that allows them to thrive as human and isn't gendered, right? It's just saying that every child needs this capacity, and make space to understand that regardless of gender, kids need to be able to express themselves emotionally, right? They need an ability to nurture. Like, there are these universal things that if we support, maybe it offsets some of the problems that we're seeing with men not being able to take care of their health, or not having space made for their emotions, or not being supported to engage in healthcare conversations, or whatever is the metric you want to put in that, that link. That there's things that we can do so that we set people up to thrive as they grow up, and then folks have the resources. Because I kind of feel like as a society, we don't do a great job prepping people to be parents. Like we kind of are like hands off, and people are often going into this huge responsibility blind. And what can we do collaboratively to give people the tools that they need to be successful? Because we have plenty of times where we're criticizing folks for what they're not doing, and just, penalizing folks for not meeting this responsibility. But I don't see, necessarily that folks are, I don't know if we have a state, a framework where we're saying here is your opportunity and your information and your education, like across the whole state, that's available to anybody. That's being done on a statewide level. I don't know. I'm new in my role in space, but I'm just saying those are some of the things that I was thinking, the space where we could work together.
Awesome. So there's two, I put two boxes on my paper, and those boxes are to support dads, to support families, support parents, in providing a good skills, good parenting skills that spill over to the second box, in creating the space for parents to be healthy, and make sure that parents are healthy, and make sure parents are aware of the way in which we parent our children today, right? So our children, that is I was going to say convenient for our children. I don't know if that's the right word. But then takes these parents and say, hey, the way you taught your child back in the day, where maybe you're spanking the child, or dirty lickings or beatings, That doesn't work. We see that that doesn't work. And it's a challenge because, talking to a bunch of the men that we speak to on a weekly basis, um, that's what they know. They know the sort of dirty lickings, abuse, corporal punishment style of parenting, yelling. Um, you know, these things are ingrained in them because that's what was done to them. And so I see how you're seeing that it's these two boxes really overlap. You know, they're two different spaces, but they do overlap because we want healthy parents. And I'm on board with that. I mean, personally, if I take my commissioner hat off, I'm I didn't see that in my years growing up. It was like, get the switch off the tree and how many lashings can we put in Mark? You know what I mean? That's like, oh my gosh, I don't even hit my kids, but that's neither here nor there. But does that sound correct? Those two boxes, does that sound, did I get that right? Or am I?
Well, I feel like for me, the two boxes were right. It is a healthy piece, right? Healthy parenting, yes, but best practices for parenting is the one box. And then the other box for me is there an opportunity for messaging or supporting parenting practices in which we recognize that regardless of a child's gender, there needs to be a focus to allow them to reach their full potential, right? And recognize that there are nuances within that, right? Emotionality, right? An ability to express emotions, an ability to nurture, that there are skills that we need to make space for to support children as they grow to adults, to recognize that you need skills in which sometimes you're courageous, sometimes you're vulnerable. Like there's a set of things that each child needs to reach their full humanity. That's how I've seen it written up, right? And that we are acknowledging and supporting children to be able to have skills to reach their full humanity and set themselves up for success, not just as individuals but in future relationships and as future parents, right? It's a full cycle, right? Because we're support parents to support children to become future parents, right? So how do we do that, and to be able to identify and message what those things are that we value or believe should be something that we're working towards. Like those are just my thoughts in terms of two areas of focus that we could focus on. I'm obviously any place that you guys want to see collaborating, I'm open to discussion. But those were some of the pieces I was thinking of.
Awesome. Cool. That gives me a better understanding. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Well, Yasmin, first of all, congratulations on your new role.
Thank you.
Super proud of you and what you've done and accomplished, and that. Thank you. But yeah, I too see some great potential in collaboration and what that can look like. I think that's going to take some discussion in terms of how we want to collaborate and what that will look like. And so I appreciate your willingness to do that. And I realize too that even in the title of who you represent, it's women, right? It's like it is generalized. It doesn't mean they're parents or maybe they may be caregivers and whatnot. So there is some connections that we have to make in terms of parenting and fatherhood and motherhood and caregiver status and all that. But I'm super excited about this potential. So thank you for being here and even wanting to have a conversation with us. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
No problem. Honestly, like I love my dad so much, and he was just so amazing. And if I could have cloned him or had him as such an example for such a kind, caring, nurturing, respectful figure, I just feel like I can't say enough about the importance of fathers and the roles that they play within their families and within society. So whatever I can do to be supportive or helpful,
Yeah, I'm also curious how your commission got an executive director. That's pretty amazing. I don't know. We need to learn some lessons from your commission and how to do that for our commission.
Yeah,
You had like 13 or so
sure.
on your commissioners. That's pretty impressive too. That's pretty amazing. So that's great.
Yeah, yeah. Anytime you want to geek out about the legislative mandate side of things, of how you secure staff, happy to have that conversation. It's a pretty
Great.
sweet deal, I can tell you.
That's nice. Thank you.
Any other questions for me or comments or considerations? I don't want to monopolize your meeting. I just felt like I wanted to drop this collaboration option to you and then leave it with you guys, and then you guys can circle back and let me know when to come back to it.
I just have one question. Did you say when you hold your meetings?
Did I say when we hold?
Yeah.
We only hold meetings 4 times a year, but again, remember the differences between our respective commissions is my commissioners are more like a board of advisors, right? Because I am moving the work forward Monday through Friday during business hours on a regular basis
So,
for the commission.
so you're in touch with them throughout.
I operate independently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they created my job description and identified what my work would look like. And then we'll have meetings for, if it's not clearly articulated in my position description, what I can do, then I will put it on the agenda for us to discuss. And if they want me to be able to do it, then they vote on giving me that authority. It's just 4 times a year. I mean, it's hard to make that. And we have quorum issues as well. It's a difficult process.
Can you add us commissioners to your invite list?
Yeah, I can add you guys in the future, or if you guys have a general email, I'd be happy to share it.
I'll get that to you.
Yeah. Anything else for me before I peace out? Because you guys got so much stuff on your agenda today.
Thank you everybody for participating. Thank you very much, Yasmin.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so
treat.
much, you guys.
Yeah.
Best of luck with your transition planning. Happy to work with whoever will be the future chair, and good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Mahalo.
Bring up the agenda. Okay. Moving on. Wanted to find out if there was an update for Commissioner Augustine. Former Director Rico Matos had emailed that he was providing Commissioner Augustine with some files. I didn't know if Commissioner Augustine had anything he wanted to share from that, or
Yeah, just real brief. I decided to work from home today, and so the binders are at my office. But what the binders were about basically were historical issues and concerns and bills and connections that Kavika Matos, the former chair, had made and was making with certain senators, emailing them on a consistent basis. And letting them know what we're all about and kind of refining that email blast, because some senators didn't want to be on there. But it's basically a track of the binders, 2 binders, and it's a track of historical bills that might and did pass through the commission and the Commission on Fatherhood. And so that's something that, it's extensive, and I didn't read every single one of them, but it's something that we can take a look at in depth at another meeting and another time where we can kind of look through these things and say, okay, take 5 at a time or 3 at a time. Do we want to talk about these things? Are we interested in these things? Are some of these things are still on the docket? So forth and so on. And I think that was the gist of how I kind of like in talking with him and just looking at some of the documents there. And that's something that we can take a look at a later time. And then if Kavika is still here, which I think he is, he can kind of clear up what I just said and make sense of that. Kavika?
Yes, Kavika Mathis, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. So first, I apologize because after Jeff became chair, I completely forgot that those two binders were sitting on my shelf. From what I researched and created and printed into these binders. So basically, yeah, just like I commented from the beginning, this commission was supposed to have an executive director and a support staff, but it could never. And Alan Sunil is nodding, shaking his head because that's what he was set up for, which made it virtually impossible to do great work because everybody's busy. All the commissioners are busy. And just for clarity, this commission is not to create or do programs or do events. It's really to monitor, to ensure that across the Payaina, across the different counties that we are, so that supportive fathers are in place, and healthy fathers. So what I was doing when I created that, and I don't even know if I passed it on to Jeff, but any email I got from anybody, I was researching, but along with collecting emails from people, and so I would before every meeting. I would send it out. I would send out an announcement about the commission. And so Mark said the senators reject. No, it wasn't the government people that was rejecting or saying take me off the list. It was more personal people's emails was saying, hey, take me off of this list. So anyway, that's the clarity. And if somebody has the time to do that, I think getting all updated representatives and senators on the state level as well as county, I think it's a good idea to keep blasting that out. And if you get a take me off the list, then do so at that point. And so it took work though. It took work to monitor that. It made, to make sure that I did take them off the list. And so the next month when I would send out, maybe once or twice, I got a comment back like, don't, I said take me off the list. It was more to do with personal emails too. So whatever I felt like was collaborative, to correct myself, it wasn't in general. But if I knew they were part of an organization and I got an email blast, I would copy that and I would put it into community emails. It was constantly defining and refining that, but making sure that people across the state knew that we had a fatherhood commission. So that's just my input.
All right, that makes sense. So, question was Kavika. So you would invite on this list people to come to the actual meeting that we're having right now, for example, or were you sending them? Yeah.
Yeah, I think at one point, and the two Allens can correct me, but I know at one point, the largest meeting we had, I could be wrong, but we had something like 30 people on here. And I kept just blasting out. Yeah, we had 35 people on here. And most of them just listened, but, and they got off when they wanted to, if they needed to. But it was just to bring awareness across. And then Jeff took it to a different level by working with DOH, which I was never able to do, and the previous chairs never able to do. But he worked directly with DHS, sorry, not DOH, DHS to to get the support and get the part-time staff to help out. So
Awesome.
So if I might add, and confirm what Kavika's saying, when I joined in 2021, there were a lot of people on the meetings, and just for a variety of reasons, when we started to have quorum issues, as commissioners were departing for one reason or another. I guess I ended up shrinking the list and kind of starting it over. And it's always my intent that to, once we get this really going strong, to get back to that list. But with Commissioner Alston's help, we've started this periodic newsletter which we've sent out twice, and it actually grew from that list. And we send that out to a lot of people. Unfortunately, I get all kinds of email errors back, so a lot of the emails are no longer effective. But we do send it out to a broader list for what it's worth, and hopefully it's going to start taking and bringing people back in. But yeah, thank you, Commissioners Augustine and Khalifa.
Yeah, one more comment to that too. I think that equally, we all agree that that would equally work. Just got to keep up with that though, yeah. Because the pieces that Brian put out were pretty good pieces. So it's just the work to do that too. So, thanks.
So since we have we're talking about Maui, I want to Khalifa shared a video. I'm going to attempt to show this video. It's a short video of an activity they have. Give me just a moment to try to get this going. Find it. If I can get this playing, I also need to confirm that the sound is working on your end.
There's a black box over the video.
Today is World Suicide Prevention Day, and over 24 people waved signs in Kahului to remember those who died by suicide and to raise awareness that it can be prevented. Attendees
So Jeff, we don't see a video. We just hear audio. If
you're getting the audio, you're not seeing the video because the video is coming up for me. I'm just gonna keep playing, see if it comes up.
Your sons of suicide 7 years ago today, and yesterday marked 6 years since Casey Shongalot took his own life in a Maui Memorial Medical Center parking lot. If you or someone you know needs help, call or text the Suicide Prevention Hotline at 988.
Did that not work?
No, it didn't. Are you on the same screen? Sometimes you have to have two different screens. Screen one and screen two.
I think I got it. I think I shared the wrong, because I guess shared the wrong screen. Hold on. And I apologize again. My challenges. I think I know what I need to do.
And Jeff, if you don't mind, if it's okay, you don't mind, I could share it too.
What I'm trying to do is to learn how to share. Okay, I'm going to try something else. I think this is it. Can you see it now?
We can see it now.
Today is World Suicide Prevention Day, and over 24 people waved signs in Kahului to remember those who've died by suicide and to raise awareness that it can be prevented. Attendees included the mother of Martin Puki Lopaka Nai Jr., who lost her son to suicide 7 years ago today. And yesterday marked 6 years since Casey Shargaloff took his own life in a Maui Memorial Medical Center parking lot. If someone you know needs help, call or text the Suicide Prevention Hotline at 988.
So I wanted to share that for a couple of reasons. One is that September is National Suicide Prevention Month, which, as I've mentioned multiple times, is a particular concern of mine. I wanted to show another video to you guys today, and it was not my intent to sort of have a theme of for those of you who were not here last last meeting, which was in June, I had a friend of mine come on to be a guest speaker, and a transgender friend of mine, and they talked about their experience as a parent going through all of that. And it was not my intent to have two transgender themed items, two meetings in a row. But I'm sure many of you saw what I saw in the news, and I really wanted to play a few guys today because I think it's really important. And just to give some background, there's an organization called the Trevor Project, and the Trevor Project is basically their goal is suicide prevention among LGBTQ youth. And the reason it shows this quick exit is because they know a lot of kids are looking at it and they could get in trouble if they're looking at it. So it's telling them how to get out of the website. But their main focus is suicide prevention and information. So they prepare a series of videos, and as per the news, they just released, I think it was last week or the week before, I think it was 2 weeks ago, a video with a local family. And it's talking about themes. It's actually a mother and her child, but I think her experiences as a mother are relevant. It's 10 minutes, so please bear with me. I'd really like to play this. I hope it doesn't play the commercial again.
When you write, your tone influences how readers respond. With Grammarly, just highlight your text and type how you want to sound.
I really thought I did something wrong.
Growing up, I never felt like gender was something that defined me, even at a young age.
I'm from Honolulu, Hawaii. I was born and raised there, and then I spent some time here in LA. I was pregnant with Maddie, actually.
My relationship with my mom before coming out was, I was way younger, so I think naturally it was just super different. But also, I think she really wanted me to just be someone who just says yes and then does it, which is really against my natural, I guess, way of being.
It was such a difficult process for me. Matt came out as gay or bisexual in the 5th grade, and I am a therapist, and I also was born and raised super ultra conservative Christian, so there's that like cognitive dissonance there. But I really felt like I was being so progressive, right, to be accepting of my child being part of the LGBTQI plus community. However, Matt was still going to church and things like that, and sometimes wearing like an LGBT shirt, and I would say like, you can't wear that to church. Like, I'm accepting, but you can't wear that to church. And I think after a few months or years of that, I recall a time where we had like a big like fight, and Matt was like, well, you say you're supportive, right, but then you tell me don't wear this and don't, and like, you know, you're expecting me to hide a certain part of myself. And so like, do you really accept this? Like, are you ashamed of this? And that was a big turning point for me.
Before I came out, I always knew that my mom was, supportive, but just not really understanding. I knew she had a very limited view.
I never had anything against the LGBT community. Actually, I know this is lame, but it's like I would always participate in Pride, like all those things. So that's why I really felt like I was progressive. I felt like I was open-minded. As a therapist, you're really trained to be objective, all of those things. And it's so different when it's your own child and you have to apply those theories like in your actual real life. I really thought I did something wrong. That was my initial. I was like, where did I mess up? Like, I thought I was trying my best to like be the best parent, and why is my kid troubled? I just equated being trans to being troubled. What's wrong what did I do wrong? How can I fix this? And I think underneath that, it was more like, my kid is gonna suffer in this world. Like, there's no way that I'm gonna allow my kid to suffer. And can we somehow make him not trans so that he won't suffer as much? Like, just be gay, because if you're gay, you won't suffer as much as if you're trans. But I also think there was a true fear, like, of safety of my family, my friends. Just how am I going to navigate all of this? How am I gonna make sure that Matt is gonna have a successful life no matter what? Like, what am I gonna do to ensure that happens? When Matt first asked for gender affirming care, I was really against it. And we went to many different clinics, and we even traveled to Stanford and Chicago and things like that. I was able to be educated. And I think when it was a really dark time for Matt, and Matt was very consistent about this, the gender affirming care has been crucial in what I believe like Matt is today. And just being able to sound more like himself, look like himself, feel like himself. I have seen such a tremendous change after the gender affirming care. So I'm not gonna lie, I was very nervous about it. I sat through many consultations, and I believe that gender affirming care is life-saving care. I didn't realize how much backlash I would get as a mother, even from the closest people to me, family, best friends, friends that I've known since 7th grade. People feel very entitled to give unsolicited advice or opinions about the way that I'm raising my kid. I've had to learn how to have family meetings without Matt there and say, hey, this is what you can say to my kid, and here's what you can't say. And I know you love us, and at the same time, if you're gonna keep saying that Matt's gonna go to hell, we're not gonna come to dinner anymore. So that was another level of deconstruction that I had to do. And I really had to seek my own professional help, and also be able to get strong enough to be that mom that like I knew I had to be. So first accepting, but then also after that advocating and being able to speak to my family. And that took years. Yeah. I had to find the courage through therapy, through doctors, through getting educated about what is the best way to support my kid. And that meant having tough conversations on behalf of Matt. There was a time where Matt was very quiet and was always intellectual, always had a lot to offer the world, but chose to keep it in because of the darkness that he was facing. And so
we're on a mission to give 2 million people all around the world clean water. This village of Malawi now has clean water.
I know how like the political climate is right now, but I will say without a doubt that the tea has really helped my child be who he is. And that's evidenced by like everything, like friends and grades and, you know, doing things out of his comfort zone and performing and acting and filming and directing, all of that, like because he was comfortable in his voice or because he was comfortable in who he was. And I think it's been more amazing than I thought it was gonna be.
Spill the Tea Cafe was originally my idea. Spill the Tea Cafe is a mental health clinic that's also a nonprofit and a safe space for LGBTQIA youth.
When Maddie came out, in Hawaii, we're very under-resourced. Well, across the whole nation, there's like a provider shortage, but especially on this island. A lot of people don't know, but suicide is the leading cause of death in Hawaii for Native Hawaiians and other marginalized people like LGBT youth. So that, during the pandemic, and Matt was going through like this dark time, I, even as a therapist, could not find anything. Like I couldn't find a therapist, I couldn't find anyone to help me with like, what do I do when my kid just said that he's trans? And so we were taking on all this overflow at the clinic, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like because my own kid was struggling with this too, I was like, we need to do something, and I will find a way. So I felt like this would be a way for me to also build community, in addition to obviously opening up the clinic.
Being able to have my mom on my side versus having her be super iffy and unknowing and questionable, it felt like I had more room to explore really what I wanted and what it all meant to me. It helps me feel more comfortable being able to just trust that she understands me.
That was a big lesson I had to learn. I need to guide this child, and I'm honored to be part of their journey, but they're not born to me and they're my possession, right? And you're gonna be what I want you to be. And so that was something, just, I think motherhood in general, it's not specific to trans kids. I think motherhood in general is something that I wish I knew that earlier in motherhood. What I would tell other parents is that if your kid is just coming out, it's important to drown out all the noise and of your own inner voice, even of other people, but also your own inner voice, and to try to truly listen to your kid. And if that kid is persistent and consistent, it's so important for you to be patient and for you to know that this is going to be a long journey. But the number one thing that your kid needs is your acceptance.
You get to learn so much more about yourself if you are accepted by the people around you, because before, you know, as my mom said, I had all these like gay shirts and it was a big part of my personality. And after I realized everyone accepted me and was loving, I got to find more of my personality. I got to get more into theater. I got to have like actual hobbies. And I'm not saying that, you know, being LGBT isn't a big part of my personality, but it's not the thing I wear so much anymore. I have so many other things that I love about myself that I was able to discover because I realized that there wasn't this thing holding me back. I didn't need to push around to show that like I deserve to be accepted because of this thing.
If you can learn how to be supportive, even 1%, you know, more than you were yesterday, that is going to give your kid the best possibility for them to be happy, for them to stay alive, for them to thrive, for them to excel. When you love your kid, that love is going to transcend every expectation that you've had. And then you can really get to know who that kid is and really truly fall in love with that kid, because Matt is actually the same kid he always was. And it's just, I had to take some time to learn that. I really thought I did something wrong.
Thank you guys for your patience on that. I like the video because it presents a parent view as opposed to a child view, and obviously it's a different parental view from our last meeting. Um, and I think a lot of what she experienced is similar to what dads can experience. I think dads can have a really hard time with stuff like that. But I like that video. Thank you, guys. Okay, let's get into everything else in the meeting. More administrative from here on out. Um, our annual awards. My understanding is we still have actually six awards that we have not yet given out. And I've said before that I struggle with trying to figure this one out. But the awards, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Parent Friendly Business of the Year, I know that I believe it was announced, but it was not actually formally given to them. I'll ask for an update in a moment on that from Commissioner Alston. For Maui County, um, we stumbled on giving those out. That's fine, but I would like to figure out maybe if there's a way to give those to the father year to a recipient on Maui and Molokai. Here on Oahu, I still have 2 remaining plaques to give out sitting on my desk. And we also have one on the Big Island to give out. I would love if anyone has some update or suggestions on trying to get those out by the end of the year at least.
Thank you, Jeff. I can certainly go by again. I've been to the office, but I don't know if their executive leader is on leave. Because I want to get a picture. I want to get, something that shows, the award in their hands and so forth. And so I could certainly go back again and keep working on that. And I've, done a couple of emails, but it's just been hard to catch up with them. So I'm not sure if their executive leadership, if they're off and on the island. So I will keep at it, Jeff, and try to make it happen. But just to let you know, I have tried a few times so far, and trying to get pictures, not just dropping off the award to the office staff and walking away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and right, because I could theoretically take the 2 Oahu awards and go to their houses and present them, but it's just not what I think we want to do as a commission. We want to make it something formal and make them feel, honored for their awards. Any thoughts, Commissioner Augustine? Yeah.
So for Maui County, we going back and forth with the 2 recipients. First, for the island of Maui, we're going to, for Ryan Poe, present him at the men's march against violence that's happening October the 10th, Friday, October the 10th. And so Friday, October the 10th is when he will receive his award. And we'll take that photo there. He's having his family and stuff come down. He lives in Hana. And so he'll have his family come down on that day and some friends and stuff like that. And so there'll be a group of people already there for that. For Jeremiah on Molokai, we've been going back and forth. And I think there is an event on the 11th of October that he will be there for. And so we're trying to see if we can fit in the award giving in that. Then what I would do is I would go to Molokai for that moment, that event, and then present and then do that. And so that seemed to be the easiest way to do that. And so that's the plan right now. I think for the 10th we're good. Like it's all, yeah. Molokai is going to be an interesting one. So because it's not my event, but it's his wife's event, and so I'm sure she's not going to say no. I think they were so excited to hear that he won. They were like, he was like, oh my gosh, and yelling on the phone, and he was just hooting and hollering. So he's so excited. Yeah. He's telling everybody. So everybody knows. And so they're just kind of like, where can we do this? Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
So that's what I want. Thank you. That's great news. That's great news, Mr. Augustine. I would love if we can find an event between now and the end of the year here on Oahu for these 2 remaining, or one each if there's something. Personally, my next 2 months are going to be quite hectic, so I may end up trying to find something around in December to try and do something. But please, especially for you Oahu folks, please, if you think of something, anything that you want to do it or anything, please get back to me. And same with the Big Island. We tried a couple things. Trying to reach out and it didn't work out. I think I need to start from scratch on that one. And I don't have a running idea right now. It's actually still sitting in my office because I didn't know exactly how to ship it, and I don't. And that's even worse. I just don't want to ship it to him at his home and say congrats like that without something more formal. Moving on. I kept on the agenda, Mr. Alston, if you wanted to talk at all about your initiative on other commissions nationwide.
Sure. This idea is if we were looking at periodically hosting the commission meetings on other islands, like if we, kind of had a plan that during a given,
Just for,
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Just for clarification, because I have you for two discussions. This one
Okay.
is not the inter-island meeting, but the national.
Okay. Thank you. So conceptually, this is reaching out to commissions across the U.S. And inviting them for what appears to be, I think, and during our last discussions, we felt pretty good about a quarterly, I think, gathering online. And it would really give each office that sends a rep or two to the meeting an opportunity to, a couple of minutes to give us an update on what they're doing, for us to look at ways we might be supportive of each other across straight lines in terms of there may be mutual interests in certain legislation that others are doing that are impacting fathers and families. There may be other initiatives that certain ones are doing that we could collaborate on. But it's more around connection and the sharing of information beyond our state so that we can see our relevance and the importance of fatherhood beyond our state. I had a chance just to exchange an email or two with Mr. Augustine, Commissioner Augustine around this, Mark. So he's certainly willing, and maybe others over time when we have the meetings, we can take turns to be a part of them. But the idea was if this group that does gather, if they're interested, not just us hosting it, it could be hosted by a different commission from a different state each quarter, but it gathers us. So pretty much at the point where I could gather some emails, send them out to these commissions across the country, and pose a date. It could be in could be in November, for example. And we set an online meeting to bring people together to at least have the first one this year, and put the idea in front of commissioners across the states. So that's the idea, and that's kind of where it's at this point.
Thank you. So just as a heads up, we do own this Zoom account. So if you were to do that, I would definitely give you the login information so you can sign on as a host for the Zoom and formally host the meeting that way.
Fantastic.
Back to the agenda. I just wanted to give a super brief update. This was something that I had participated in the task force on behalf of the Commission, the Uniform Parentage Act update, task force for the bill. And my only update was, because we had discussed it here, was that it was signed. I thought this was great news. It was signed on July 7th. Forgot to include a picture. Actually got to go and bring my family, get a picture with the governor, and some other task force members did as well. But this is basically a bill that opens up birth certificates to more current definitions of families, and it goes beyond that, just to update birth certificates from the 1970s to the 2020s. Okay, there's a lot of administrative stuff here. The next part of this meeting, section B, I'm going to actually move this to discuss down below item E, and I want to start with what I put down as concepts of transition. Number one, meeting owl. I wanted to give you a heads up that theoretically, as some of you know, we now have one of these. I wanted to make sure you knew what it is. This is a 360-degree camera to bring into the meetings in person. And as you saw, what it does is it captures whoever's talking from wherever they are in the room. But this is ours. We share it with the LGBTQ Commission, and their meetings are on Mondays. I think it's the second Monday at 2:30. So right now we don't have any kind of conflict. As some of you know, when I was processing how to do a transition, it dawned on me to start doing stuff that I never did as chair, and I think this is really going to help with information. But we created a shared workspace, and I know that I can invite all of you into it, because these are all files for commissioners, and DHS as well has access to it. Commissioner Sunio, I'm not sure that I can invite you because of your Yahoo email address, but I'm trying to put relevant stuff here to help keep the commissioner going, because there's actually a lot of stuff going on that we need, and I'm just going to go through what we have here. Stuff pertaining to the current fiscal year, stuff pertaining to awards such as the past recipients and past applications that we can revise and update as we do. Our budget and finance, which I'm going to talk later. Email lists, and we tried to come up in related to sending out the newsletter, a way to unsubscribe and to have a list. These email lists are not something that I'm skilled at, and I ended up having to send the last newsletter out on my own. So I'm pretty sure I did it correctly, but I'm not sure. But this is to help with the newsletter. It's meant for an admin assistant to work with these email lists. We have some marketing items that have been prepared in the past that we've used that can be updated or refined. We had used them for the event in Maui. Minutes, of course, our newsletter, travel documents for moving between islands, parking pass log. We have, the commission has bought a lot of parking passes to be used. And so we're trying to keep track of what we're using them for, when, by who, et cetera, et cetera. And I did want to give an update on the logo files, because last time I had let you know that I figured out where they came from, and I know former Commissioner Matos had wanted us to update the quality of our images, and the good news is I managed to reach out to the man who prepared all of our logos, and I put them all in here. These are the high quality versions of all our logos, and they're in the shared workspace for when we do marketing, et cetera, et cetera. So bear with me here, but a lot of work goes into preparing an agenda and running a meeting. And I tried to write as much of it as I could down. I'm going to go over this. It's important to know, for everyone to know what goes on. The first task is drafting the agenda. And every month, starting like about 2 weeks before the meeting, I start emailing with our deputies, Attorney General Aaron and Lily with Sunshine Law, and they help me with these agendas. And you'd think that by now I would have it down, but they always find something that I need to correct. It's just really easy, and they're giving this tremendous help. That's a great relationship to have with them. Once we finalize the agenda, there are some laws because we are a state commission on when these agendas need to post it, and it's very confusing. And I emailed with OIP, Office of Information, something to really clarify this. And it's 6 calendar days before a meeting. It has to be posted on the public state calendar. So you need to have an account on the calendar and go on and post the final agenda by then. I try to get it up by Fridays because it's the last work day. It's a week ahead. I don't always do it. I use Word, and I export rather than print to a PDF file so that we can keep links in the agenda. What I would recommend is there's a space to copy and paste the agenda into a text box. I just put in please see attached, and then I do it as an attachment. I think it's more effective. We also have to email the Lieutenant Governor's office that agenda. I clarified that they don't seem to have a deadline on that, but I always do it at the same time I post it to the state calendar. The final board packet, which is all of the attachments, has a separate deadline, and there was a new law which I actually testified against on behalf of the commission because they were complicating the process. But the final board packet has to be posted by 10:30 a.m. 3 business days prior. I got that clarified. So that's Tuesday prior to a Friday meeting. And what that is it has to be posted on our website. We do not have access to this website. We request it from the DHS staff. I don't know exactly the name of that department within DHS. The contacts are Sean Joaquin and Elena Garvin. Sean is being the main contact, and I asked them to post our agenda, post information about the meeting, and then any other updates they do that. The law says that a printed agenda needs to be available for public inspection at the DHS office. Honestly, I don't know if they print one, and I don't know if anyone has ever asked. Also, this next one is not a law, it's a guideline that I don't always successfully follow. I try to email the agenda out the Friday before, reminders Monday, Wednesday, and then always the morning of the meeting with the Zoom link, because I don't know how many of you have had a Zoom meeting where you can't find the link because they emailed it 2 weeks earlier. So always put the Zoom link and email the day of the meeting. At the meetings, we must have someone present. It does not necessarily have to be a commissioner, as I learned, but I thought it did. The DHS will provide a projector, but no computer. I ended up buying my own laptop for $100, which is why I have some. It's not the best quality that I use for these meetings. I had asked them to buy it, but due to the strict rules about using something that's owned by the government, I wanted a little bit more flexibility with this to make sure I could use it for other stuff, like a work meeting or something. So it's my own laptop that I use. The meeting owl, as I mentioned earlier, we share it with LGBTQ plus commission. It's great. They keep it in the DHS office. You just go in and ask for them. They're very nice about it. They also have our parking passes, as I mentioned. There were 25 parking passes on July 7th. We should be set for a while. Always bring extra agendas for guests if you're in person and you're supposed to put an agenda. Sorry for that misspelling, outside the meeting space, so I put one on the door of this room. Our meetings have to be recorded. What I do is I record it directly to my laptop because I've never tried it to a cloud, which I think should work. It's probably better, but I just haven't tried it. We have a Zoom subscription that expires on May 11th. I'm trying to pay ahead of time in the prior year's budget. Unfortunately, DHS refuses to pay this directly from the P card that they have. So this has to be paid by one of us and reimbursed. We are posting all the videos online on our YouTube page, as well as minutes. There are 2 types of minutes that we're doing. One, if there's no admin to help us at the time, Aaron helped me with consolidated, a shortened version of minutes that I can prepare pretty quickly that says some of the important details about the meeting, and then we try to get the full minutes up. Minutes are supposed to include start and end times, entry and exit times for commissioners, and results of votes. Not related to the agenda, but a couple other things that I have done as chair is I try to be in contact with DHS Finance on a regular basis. They are very busy with a lot of stuff going on in their office. And what happens is they have a spreadsheet, and I ask at the end of certain months for them to send me an updated spreadsheet. I'm going to go over our finances in a bit, but they make a lot of mistakes. It just happens. So I have to ask them to please, what is this, and can it be moved? So a lot of expenses have been assigned to our commission, but they're not really for our commission. It's just part of trying to clear it up, and it's just the way it is. We do have a commission email. It is fathercommission@hi@gmail.com, which I will hand over to our new chair reviewing that email. I have a lot more, but I'm going to take a quick break to ask if anyone has any questions or comments on that. That document is in the shared folder.
I think that whoever the new chair is going to be, I think that might be when you want to go more in detail of all because I can't say this for myself, like what you're presenting is really good and detailed, but I think whoever's going to take over the Kuleana, or if we delegate out certain Kuleana pieces, that have to go through it again. Because yeah, just to train up people and give people more time to ask questions, and yeah, maybe it's one-on-one sessions that you have with people. Yeah.
That's a very good point. I just wanted to put it out there what the steps in the process are, but very good point.
Yeah. That's good. What? And would we all have access to that, or just the chair and the co-chair?
Well, it's a vice chair, and my intent of this workspace is that all commissioners have access to it.
All. Okay.
So you can grab those files and look at that. I think my next item is looking at a couple calendars that I put together, which is going to be key to help to our planning.
I have a question, Jeff. Would the admin person be someone that could put the meetings together and put them on, or it needs to be someone voted in?
An admin person would definitely help with all of this, but the chair needs to be aware of what the steps are and make sure they're getting done. But absolutely, yeah, it definitely would make it easier. Going to continue trying to rush through this. So I put a couple of calendars in. Of course, I have so many tabs here. Let me just try to find them. That's not it. Okay. So again, I wish I had done this a lot earlier, but what I'm trying to do with this particular calendar is to sort of get a snapshot of the entire year um, of meetings and what the dates are when they need to be done. Um, Reserving the room, so I've already had the room booked through the end of the year. And the time I did it, I thought I was moving quite forward. So maybe time to book through DHS through the end of the fiscal year. I kind of, you know, if I was to go on, I kind of thought I would love to have some themes to our meetings, like transition. And if I was to put themes in, my first two themes would be a legislative kickoff as we get ready for the new session, as well as an annual awards kickoff to work on updating the awards. What is it we really want? Do we want to do them, et cetera, et cetera? Um, the sort of track having some guests. We have two guests that have been requested. I'd like to have Lee speak to us, and I've talked to him about it. And then I know we've also had a request for prosecuting attorney Steve Alm be a speaker, and that intent is part of the legislative session for next year. One to think about annual events, and I'll get to this one in just a moment, but I've enjoyed legislative session opening day. Commissioner Alston has joined me the last 2 years. And we have this Maui event that we participate in, other events that we want to, keeping in mind what Kaviko Mato said earlier, we don't necessarily organize events, but we can participate and help publicize, what we're trying to do as the Commission on Fatherhood. I wanted to put in newsletters here and come up with a schedule. And this is very much a draft, and I know I'm glossing through this for the awards process that has to start early to make sure we're done in time for any organization that's getting a sponsorship award to help that with their planning, as well as to plan for presentation in June. And also because DHS, they seem to have moved earlier when they would like any expenses submitted and stuff. So they're hoping to get them really by the end of April moving forward. And that really makes us need to push these awards earlier. Oh, sorry. I have a second calendar page. Thank you to all of you for participating in this one. This was in my attempt to schedule our trauma-informed training and get a feel for availability on meetings. This is huge, and this is great that I got you guys to fill in availability. And what I did is I put all Fridays. I just found it easier to schedule to keep the same time as a Friday meeting. And then I put in green actual meeting dates. Just want to highlight, we have 100% expected participation for our October meeting, but we do not have quorum anticipated at this time for November or December. But this could be a great resource if we can keep this up to date, because it helps the chair immensely with their planning to know your availability, because we're all busy people and I know things happen. This topic had been brought up by Commissioner Sunio, and so I put shouldn't say what it is better on this page. Hawaii Children and Youth Day. I put this on our agenda to talk about whether we would like to table and how to do that. It's coming up because it's on October 5th, so anything we decide would need to be today. I'm gonna ask Commissioner Sunio if he wants to talk about that.
Okay, sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. we had talked about this before, and I wish we had kind of settled on what we wanted to do. It is coming up, and having gosh, I lost her on the meeting this morning and talking about the Women's Commission and how we can get involved. That would have been a good opportunity for us, and then maybe we can look at it as far as next year. How both commissions can work together and actually put up a booth and bring in other organizations which have family initiatives and work a program that way to reach out to the kids. Um, we're looking at, we used to have between 40 to 60,000 people at the event prior to COVID, and the event's been coming back. So we're expecting maybe 12 to 15,000 this year at the Capitol. So it's coming back a little bit stronger. We got over, I think it's at the last meeting we had, where we have about 150 nonprofit organizations that are participating this year. So it's getting, hopefully it'll get back to what it was before, but that's a good opportunity for us to really introduce our program. And that's kind of what we did before, and that's why I kind of stayed in touch and still stay involved with the organization. And they always ask, hey, is the commission still active? And would you guys like to participate? So I know we didn't really get a chance to decide on it this last round, but maybe next year, as our commission grows itself, we can get more input and more involved in something like that, because I think it'll be a good venue for us to get out and spread the word and really do something in the community and with the organization.
Thank you. And that's a big reason why I thought having a visual calendar that we can see and be more aware of what's coming up so we can prepare for it. Okay, so it sounds like we're not going to set up a table then this year because it's only in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I can ask, but I know right now we're scrambling because the areas that we're using. We just found out last week too that the construction that they're doing around the mission building and everything, they're cutting back on some of the space that we're using. So now we're gonna have to cram people on Kalani Moku side. So um, I'll ask if there's still an opportunity where we could probably do something. But I think if we really think about it, and want to do something next year, this would be a perfect venue. And as our guest speaker was talking, you know, in the past, we would have different um, section put up. Like we'd have a 100-foot tent, and we do an education area there, and then we had another area which was finance. And so I was normally the chair for that area, and then we had the banks come out and the credit unions, and so they would work with the kids on teaching them how to open up a bank account, savings account, and then the finance companies would talk to them about, have activities where they teach them uh, how to save their money and budget, and things like that. So that's something that we can get involved in, getting other organizations involved to do that with us. And as far as, like with the Women's Commission, having the ladies or the girls or even some of the high school students that were involved, get the girls to lead things like that. So that's where when she was talking, I was thinking about, oh, how can we do things where we can work together? That's one area that we can do that. We're approaching it as families working with the kids, but also giving to satisfy their mission, giving the girls or the women an opportunity to be upfront and say, or be the ones that are actually the ones that are walking through the kids through it or teaching them or being the spokesperson. So, so that was going through my mind as far as doing it. I wish we could have done that this year. But that's probably something we can look at next year, build on that.
And it actually kind of works well in the calendar. Once we finish up our June events and stuff, start working on this. Um, and later in the meeting, at the end of the meeting, we're going to talk about promotional materials or items so that we're prepared for stuff like this. But Mr. Sunio, I have a question. What's the chance there's a possibility of finding a way to give out the two Oahu Father of the Year awards there? Or is that too hard to figure out or too much to ask?
Let me, that's something that we could do. We have 3 stages that are set up. And in the morning, the mayor and the governor are going to come out and we're doing something similar too. We're giving out awards to individuals and organizations, businesses that support the community. So we're doing that in the morning. Maybe one way or another we can tie that in. Let me talk to the people that are running the stages and see if we can do that. That might be a possibility. And then if we can do it in the morning as we open up with the mayor and or the governor there, they can be part of that because they're part of us giving the awards out. They're there to do the presentation. So
I would absolutely love that if we could do that. I think that could be a great option.
So it'll be just how many awards that we're going to be giving out?
It's just 2 remaining awards on the Oahu.
Okay, let me make a call this afternoon and I can get back to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm excited about this. I wish I had really thought about it a lot earlier, but I was communicating with Commissioner Alston, and he's going to talk about this in just a moment about really trying to formalizing this whole concept because I put it in the budget but never found a way to make it work. But a concept of not just having one meeting a year on at least one meeting a year on another island, but actually making it more of an event for us. And so when talking about Commissioner Olson, we talked about doing this first meeting on Kauai, and he put together a concept which I love, and I can keep it on the screen for you, but I'm going to turn this over to Commissioner Alston to introduce us to this concept.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, gentlemen. The idea is this could give us as commissioners an opportunity to introduce ourselves to each of the islands, and to introduce ourselves to the leadership of those different islands. We could come at it from the standpoint of the offices, the ex officio offices that are already connected to us. That's one idea, and that's part of what I've included in this kind of outline. So for example, we have a connection to education, we have a connection to the health department, to DHS, to security in terms of police and prisons, et cetera. So you can come at it from that standpoint. You also can come at it from the standpoint of the leadership of the island. And that's kind of how I looked at it for Kauai. We could look at it where we're asking or collaborating with the mayor's office or our county council to help sponsor the meeting itself, right? So that's sponsored in a public space. I would certainly invite all those different perspectives that I've added in my summary. I would invite the police department to be there, first responders. I would invite someone from the education, someone from the health department, and would probably start by asking the mayor's office on Kauai to sponsor it for us at one of their spaces. And would also want to have some idea of what we want to know that connects to our mission and our agenda of things that we could ask of them to share at the meeting. So they could we could do a state of fatherhood on Kauai, when you come to Kauai. And we have people from the medical end, and they're going to talk about suicide, and from those that track that are part of our police department. And we have, people from the health department and from organizations like I work for, the YWCA, that looks at issues around domestic violence. We have organizations that focus in on healthy relationship in schools and what's being taught on those levels. So we could really get like a meeting that not only allows us to introduce what we do to them on a state level, but it gives us a sense as to where each island, or in this instance, where Kauai is in respect to our goals and our mission on a local island specific way, a snapshot. So that's kind of how I looked at it. That particularly if we looked at doing like Jeff was saying, we're going around the islands in a given year when we have our meetings. So that's kind of how this outline is supposed to represent. Having these multiple kinds of departments join in this meeting effort with us as guests at the meeting itself. Happy to answer any questions, etc. Thank you.
Ryan with all the good ideas always, man. I tell you, love that. And I think I think it's time to do that. I think it's time because, I look at Kavika being here and seeing how he works, and his circle of influence knows what the commission is. But then right outside that, they're like, what is that? What is it that you do? Right. And so I get that a lot. And I'm a natural promoter. I'm a natural, like, I want people to understand what we do. And I want the people that are of influence also to understand what we do. Because as you're talking, I'm just like, the word I keep hearing is collaboration. And then also, like, how can we assist you? What is it that we can help you with based upon our mission, right? Based upon our mission, how can we assist you in what you guys are doing? So, yeah. And it sounds like there's a budget. It sounds like there's a budget for transportation and travel and stuff like that. So I don't see why not, as far as us being able to meet in person. And then you said there's sponsorships. I think that's awesome for them to sponsor something like that, because it puts eyes in their department of who we are, right? Like, oh, well, what, we're sponsoring the commission of fatherhood? Like, what? And so they can kind of see what it is that we do. So, yeah. Awesome.
So I would love to see this concept go forward. Basically, not just being we hop on a plane, we meet, we leave, but doing something. So it's in its vision. It really takes a heck of a lot of work by whoever the local commissioner is. Also working alongside the chair of that particular commissioner to put something like this together. Um, um, we would have to keep in mind before Aaron comments this that if we were doing other activities, we cannot actually talk about commission business when there's more than two of us. But I believe that we can, do the whole introduction and et cetera, and just get ourselves out there and make connections and build connections. I think it's an option. Originally, Commissioner Olson and I were going to introduce this in July with the hope of doing it in October. I think it's not going to be possible at this point, but it really will take full commitment by all of us, confirming that we can go and do this, as well as what Commissioner doing food arrangements, et cetera, et cetera. But I would love to see it happen. And in general, the concept has always been one outer island non-Oahu meeting and one on Oahu meeting. Let's make it work. There was one other item I really, really wanted to see through before stepping down, because Amanda Stevens really, really went out of her way to help get this, build this connection and offer this as a way to sort of learn this ourselves, as well as even her intent or her concept is for us to, after our own training, is to put on an event for the community. I really want to see this go forward, but due to quorum issues and planning issues, I haven't been able to do that. I have put together some plans. I was going to propose that we actually try to do this in October, but Amanda wanted us to talk about it before reaching out to see if there's availability from Kevin, I believe his name was, Thompson. And there's a bit of a catch-22 there, because I don't know how we can discuss it if we don't know if he's available or not. But so I have this framework of this event. I don't know when it's going to happen. I would love to see it happen. I don't know if anyone has any comments on that.
Yeah, I too would like to see it happen. I think it's a matter of it's just timing, I think. I think that things come up, and I know it's hard to commit to like a longer day of training, but yeah, and I think at one point we talked about it being open. If we do the training, it can have it open to others as well. And I know Aaron has talked to us about having quorum. So if I guess quorum is 5 members, is that what it is? And if 5 members can commit, whoever those 5 are, then we can have the training go forward, I think, because otherwise we won't get everyone's schedules all the time being met. So at least 5 of us can commit to it, then I think we can do it.
And the concept was, since we're hopefully flying at least 2 commissioners over here to Oahu, you know, to do the meeting and do the training. But I think what Amanda wanted ultimately was that this is open to commissioners and ex officios, and then we would follow it up with a more public type of.
Okay, great. Yeah.
So I know that going through finances is not the most exciting topic. I think it's kind of required, and it also a budget and the financial spreadsheet, it helps guide any organization in their activities and their expenses and everything like that. So bear with me. I'm going to go through my final spreadsheet for last year, and then I wanted to propose an initial budget just to have a budget on the table, but of course it could be changed, especially by a new chair. I have found, assuming the finance chair position works well with the chair. So I'm going to breeze through this. So please, if you want me to say something more specific, just start talking. I have 4 columns here, which helped me understand what's going on. There's our initial budget that we have to plan, what we spend, and the DHS has to have it formally encumbered, and sometimes spending and encumbering don't happen in the exact same order. But once it's all submitted, then we have to get it paid out. So it helped me to have 4 columns of this. As we discussed, we have a bunch of travel money in here, and we did have a couple trips, fortunately, between Commissioner Alston coming here for legislative session, Commissioner Oliphant going to Maui. We have our parking passes here. Um, we have our Zoom expense. We have 2 years in this particular year. Looks like we did not formally spend money on marketing or my community outreach concept. We didn't spend any kind of money on that. DHS, the prior year, we did not get all the awards in, and they moved it forward to this past year, $4,500 worth. We did succeed in getting the 9,000 for the current year in by the end of the year. We had one training, the QPR suicide training, which we paid for free people. Our plaques, DHS did not get this in, so it's going through the current fiscal year, as I'll talk about in a moment. And I have several questions outstanding with DHS right now that are not clarified. I don't think they're all for us, but I don't remember everything. Marty's Maui travel is included in this, but I don't know the exact amount that was included. I'm still trying to get that cleared up because it would be nice to have the books clean. That being super fast for a topic that I know is not the most exciting, I would like to throw questions before I go to the current fiscal year proposed budget. I'm going to the current fiscal year proposed. Yes.
I always assume that all that wasn't for my travel, the 918, right?
I sure as heck hope so. That is correct. I believe, and this had happened before, that they had pushed through multiple tickets on one credit card and then they coded it wrong. So I believe that there's other people's travel in there and they just haven't gotten back to me on that.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have an issue of overspending our account. It's just a desire of mine to have our books be clean.
Yeah, I would think Brian and mine is probably the only two travel that happened this past fiscal year, unless they're including.
No, that's correct. Yeah. And Brian's flight is up here, the one for legislative opening day.
Oh, okay, yeah. So there's something. Yeah.
Yeah. So bear with me again, and I'm going to ask for a vote. And as I said, I put preliminary budget, and the reason I originally put this together was because I was trying to get our trauma-informed training to happen. It was second July or August, I forget, and I wanted to have a budget on the book so that we could spend for that. So since I already put it together, I wanted to present it anyway. We have, so I'm going to go through every item here, trying to move as fast as I can. Business cards, general copying and printing, mail and postage, and that's kind of for the awards. If we need to mail it. I have in here travel, rental car, parking at the airport, transportation, per diem. For the assumption is full set of commissioners for another item meeting, a Oahu meeting, and then legislative session opening day. Our annual subscription for Zoom. I should really update those dates. It should be 26 to 27 since we already paid for this current year. Marketing money, logo apparel, in case we do buy some more. Promotional materials, that's basically for stuff for handouts. I put in the budget for the trauma-informed training for us. Awards, obviously we need to discuss what we want to do. So that's preliminary amounts, whether we want to do it and how much we want to do it. I've always put in professional development in case that comes up. I've added something new because I felt really embarrassed when I presented, the award at Key Project, the Father of the Year award, and it dawned on me that I went there without a lei. And the last year I remembered to buy a lei, And it seems to me we absolutely need to have this as a budget item to bring raise whenever we present an award to go with these with all of this. I felt awful. And last year's awards being applied to this year's budget, and then this year's expectation for the current fiscal year's trophies, et cetera, et cetera. Given that, I'm going to ask for a vote. I'm going to ask if there's any discussion or any questions or anything about any of this items.
I move to approve the preliminary budget.
I second that.
You guys make it nice and easy when there's no discussion. Just to double check, because I couldn't see the faces. That was Commissioner Oliphant and Commissioner Alston.
Yes.
Okay, any further discussion on the motion on the table? Okay, all those in favor of this preliminary budget, please raise your hand and or say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have 5 of us on. I did not see Commissioner Chauhan.
He left.
Did he say goodbye? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, he said goodbye in the chat. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I can't see chat when I'm just on this thing. Okay, so the motion is approved by all current present commissioners. We're closing in. Go back to the agenda. So moving on to our periodic newsletter, which Mr. Alston, and I talked to him about this also. It's an idea that I really, really like, and it's I think that we should have each commissioner not necessarily each commissioner, each newsletter should have a commissioner written item within the newsletter, something that is of particular interest for them. So for instance, when Commissioner Alston and I spoke about this, I said, since it's kind of the idea is kind of coming from me, I'll do the first one. And what I wanted to do was to give a brief summary of the QPR suicide prevention training that I went to and put that in. And I told Commissioner Alston I would do it for the fall. I need to change that and do it for your winter edition and not the fall. I'm not going to be able to get it done. And I'm actually not sure if you have started working on the fall edition, but I'd like to encourage all of the commissioners to please, there's only 4 per year, so we're not all going to get 1 per year. Commissioner Alston's already writing the newsletter, so I'd like to encourage you, of course, that, you can take it in direction, but to please think about a submission that you can write up. I don't think it has to be long. Thank you, Mr. Oliphant, for your offer. Mr. Alston, what do you think is your timing for the next newsletter for the fall?
Sure. When would you like it, Jeff? When would be appropriate?
Well, I think it would be great if we can present it at the next meeting in October.
Okay, that's fine. And let me just clarify, Marty, did you want to have something for then or for another time?
For the following one.
Okay. And Jeff, you're going to do a following one, not this time, correct?
I just can't do this coming fall. That's all.
Yeah. No worries. No worries. Okay.
So, Commissioner Augustine has offered to talk about, I guess, publicity, social media, and our webpage. And so I thought for that discussion, I'd pull up our webpage. As you can see, I have not requested a significant update since June. put together some stuff we posted some of the sponsorship award activities on there. We got a few of the Father of the Year presentations on there. We'd love to get some more, putting the newsletters. And it's a very generic kind of website. The part about the meetings is down below. But I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Augustine.
Right on, right on. Yeah, I think I was more of just wanting to know the process of what we can put on there. I think that so there's like the Father of the Year for Maui. I'm doing a video of the Father of the Year. I'll do one also for Jeremiah. It does take some time, but I was just wondering, like, can we put that up on the website? Is that something that we can put up on the website?
I think we absolutely can.
And you know, for social media, what do we have for social media? Are we able to put up like-minded things that are on our website onto the social media?
Commissioner Augustine, you're breaking up a little bit. It's hard to hear you. I'm not sure if your mic is off, but we had, when I first signed on or joined the commission, I think there was a web page on Facebook that two former commissioners were doing. I'm not much of a social media person, so I never pushed it or anything like that. I think it certainly is open for to do. I also think we can put more stuff. I don't know what kind of limits there could be on the web page, but I've never been told no, but I've never pushed a lot of stuff on it either.
Yeah. And you know, nothing out of the ordinary. Just, you know, if as we have events and photos and videos, just kind of putting it together, just like kind of what you saw today that you shared about the sign waving thing, you know, putting those types of things up. Just kind of things of what we're doing and highlighting fathers throughout the year and the work that they do on a continuous basis. So nothing extravagant. So yeah, if we can figure out like social media things, what we can put on social media. You said it's a Facebook?
Well, I don't even know if we could get control of it. So it may have to be a new Facebook if you wanted to do that. I find that it takes a heck of a lot of work for social media
Gotcha.
To keep it up, but I'm certainly happy if you wanted to do that. I also, you know, ideally, I was trying to update the webpage whenever I'm working on an agenda and try to get monthly updates. So you and Karika had provided me with this. I would love to get this information about your next sign waving next week on our webpage, for instance. You know, and have it up here, sort of like a breaking news. We had before Hawaii Happy Father's Day, it was saying breaking news. So I do want to get that up there.
Yeah, no, I think the website is awesome, you know, and I think it's great, and I think the newsletter is awesome too. I just, you know, like see like what we can put on there, but it sounds like we have a green light on different videos and stuff like that. So that's good to know. Yeah, and if we do get access to a Facebook or social media, I'd be more than happy to contribute to that, putting things up. You know, whether it's like a single post or whether it's an inspiring quote. You know, maybe it's something that's directing them to the website. You know, just kind of getting the visuals out there.
And you know, for what it's worth, you know, the commission has a YouTube page. Let me see. I don't know exactly how to get to it, right? But I don't know how to get to the home of our webpage. Your videos, is that it?
And
for what it's worth, if you're trying to get videos.
This is John Kimura. I just want to mention.
That's my personal address.
Hello?
Sorry, go ahead.
Hi, it's John
Yeah, go ahead.
Kimura.
Yes, go
Just
ahead,
want
please.
to let you folks know that if you folks are wanting to do a social media site, that you'll need to receive training by Amanda first before putting up a social media site on the commission.
Training.
Okay. Do you know what the training entails?
Not exactly sure. That would be with Amanda, but it would be because it's through DHS, and DHS has it's under the commission's sort of under DHS. Then we will need to have that person be trained before putting it up.
It's probably to follow their guidelines, the proper protocol.
Makes sense.
Thank you, John, for letting us know that. Along with training for sunshine law and ethics.
Hi, sorry, this is Kristen from DHS.
Yes.
Yes, it is the training with Amanda is for everybody in DHS commissions or even state employees. If we're doing any type of social media, it's to go over, proper guidelines that represents and follows the state. So, what we put out, what is presented online has to be presentable. We can't be using foul language. How, someone comments on a post or message you folks. If you don't like that comment, you can't just delete it. It has to remain up. And, if people reach out saying, bringing up concerns or anything like that, we do need to respond because you guys do represent the state as well. So you guys can always come to us and ask us, hey, we got a comment or a question or a message or whatever saying I need help with my SNAP, my, EBT, something that might not even relate to the commission, but we would give you guys a guideline on how to respond and where you can direct them. But those are the kind of things that if it does come up on social media, you do need to answer it as well. But these are the guidelines, and Amanda goes into a little bit more details about what else is acceptable and not acceptable, and what kind of things may occur during, social media.
It's just
There's a lot of
something that she's
a lot
scheduled
of
for.
monitoring that has to happen if we're gonna have it.
Yeah, so I mean, if you guys do social media, it's a lot of monitoring because it's kind of like another outlet or another source for the public to use for DHS. It's not just, even though it's for the commission, a lot of people see it as another avenue to reach the department.
Yeah.
So we can't just be picky and go, oh, that, it doesn't pertain to the commission. I'm going to step out. I'm not going to answer this. We need to answer everything.
Unless there's a way to turn off the comments, right?
We're not allowed to turn off comments. Yeah.
Enable
That's very
comments.
Do you know if Amanda schedules this on a regular basis? Is this something you just went to?
So you guys would just reach out to Amanda 2 weeks in advance and schedule it with her, and she'll work with you folks on it. And then she presents this training to all the commissions that want to do a social media, just so that everybody's, safe and, just in case if we get a lawsuit, if anything happens, that we're all covered and everybody's aware of everything.
And just to follow up on one thing that Kristen said, the commission email will periodically get inquiries that have nothing to do with the commission either, but are state inquiries, and when that comes up, I just forward them on to DHS or something to try to get someone to handle.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, so following up, on something that Commissioner Oliphant has really requested and directly requested. I wanted to get us on top of having promotional materials so that, say, for instance, we're all prepared to go to Family and Children's Day next month because we already have stuff. So we just ran a couple items that I thought I'd throw out there. This being a sticker, 500 stickers for $154 or so. Pricing, logo pens, which I also thought were pretty nice. 500 pens for $575. Those were the only two items that ultimately we looked at. Um, I think that I think I'm going to. I don't know. Does anyone have any comments on these or what to do, or whether or if there's anything else you want us to look at? I just thought I'd throw this out to initiate the discussion.
No, I think that's good. I like having at least something if we're tabling events to be able to give out to people besides candy. So I like that. So it's logoed. Yeah, that's good. I like the sticker and I like the pen idea. Yeah.
Go back to
This
the
is
budget.
Alan. Hey, this is
Yes.
Alan. I did find about 100 brochures that we used before, the trifolds, and I got a couple banners too. If anybody wants to use them, I have that.
I also have a lot of banners. I noticed on Maui. Um, yes, because it's also good to have paperwork to hand out. So I had put in, based on that information, I had put in $1,000 to our budget. Um, we definitely need admin help to push these forward. I'm just processing what extent we proceed or hold off another month on this to think about it.
Can I say something about the trifolds, Alan, if you have them and if they look professional and if they're updated, I that'd be great. I think the ones I got lately when we have done the tabling in Maui, it's like it was good, but it was kind of like I don't know how to say it without offending, but it wasn't like put together nicely. So it felt like it was in-house, which is fine. It's just I think we have to have a more polished look for our supplies that we give out to people because I think that's, it'd be good to have professional looking stuff if it's coming from the commission. So if the trifold that you have, Alan, is polished and good to go, then I think we should use those.
Yeah, I mean it's generic information, but it was done by a printer. So like I said, I think I got about 100. I found out about 100. So anybody wants to use them, just let me know and I'll get them to you. If we do pens are a good idea, and all we got to do is just drop them off at the state capitol, make sure everybody there gets one on their desk.
Yeah.
You mean like on legislative session opening day, bringing those pens that we were, for instance, we're suggesting?
Yep. Or whenever we can get them in there.
And then I had one more item that was in the agenda. Again, Commissioner Oliphant had asked for this, so we started to look into it. Yeah, asked for a pinwheel to have an activity, and I don't know how to enlarge this. There were three options. They don't really seem to be that expensive, in the 50 to 60, $38 to $60 range. But we have options. I think it's worth looking into and moving forward if this is something we want to be able to have as an activity on future tabling events.
I just gave one away. I mean, I don't know. Hmm. Let me see who has it because I don't know if you guys know, but the Greater Little Run shut down, so we were giving away everything from our office, and we had a wheel, and nobody wanted it. So I said, "Well, put it on the side until I can find somebody that could take it." So let me see if it's still there. But it was just like that, but it's a big one. It's about
That'll be great.
3 feet round, 3 feet in the diameter.
That'd be good because when we were on Maui, I think Mark brought like the sandbag thing and the aiming game, so kids could play that. Um, but it'd be kind of cool to have like that kind of wheel of fortune kind of thing, and wherever they land on, they can get a prize according to the color or whatever, or answer a question or whatever. It's more interactive that way because that way people can be more drawn to it and stuff like that. So
Yeah, the wheel is a hit.
yeah,
Like if you have a wheel at your station, it's like you are the go-to table.
yeah.
And then it creates this interaction. It creates a really good interaction and a synergy between the parent, the child, or whoever, the father, or whoever's there.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we can always change those little things too, which is cool.
Yeah.
So, guess someone's ears were ringing that maybe we were talking about her. Please welcome Amanda Stevens.
Hi. I don't want to be out of line, but since you guys were asking about social media training, I did provide a training to Kavika and Charles in 2021, and it was pretty comprehensive. And I'm very much willing to do so. I just need to be asked. And whenever anyone asks me to do something, I do my due diligence to provide whatever you need in a timely manner. So if there is an issue with anything, please let me know. Not only did I provide social media training, but I also connected Charles with Meta back when they came and provided social media training for the governor's office. So I made it really a point to include the commissions, and Commission on Fatherhood stepped up and joined that training. So happy to do that again.
Awesome. Thank you, Amanda.
Thanks.
Can I ask how long the training is?
It really depends on how much time you all have. I usually take about an hour, and that does include Q&A.
So this was separate from the meeting then when you did it, if it was just two of them.
I believe there were two. I did include it in part of the meeting. And then when Meta came, I don't think they were Meta at the time. I think they were just called Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I believe Charles joined. That was a long one. It was like an hour and a half. But hopefully he brought back what he learned and shared it. But I think there's been so many changes, and there's a lot of vitriol, and things have just gotten a little bit more intense. So I think this would be a really good time to revisit the training.
And so Charles was a former commissioner from Kauai. He was the one that was running a Facebook page, which was pretty. I recall we would put quotes up or stuff like that. There wasn't particularly much engagement, but okay,
Yeah.
that's great information.
Yeah, thanks. And I'm already doing a training for the Hawaii State Youth Commission in October, so I'm happy to do one for you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that something we would meet with another commission, or you want it to be individual for each commission?
I think it might be good for an individual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I'd be willing to take the training.
Okay.
Okay, I'll set something up. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. And Amanda, just to let you know, I want so much to see this trauma informed training go through, but it looks like it's not going to happen until next year.
I know, I'm so sorry. I know I asked for October and he wasn't available in October. So next year, at least we can do it.
Hopefully,
Okay.
maybe kicking off the year, but I would love to see it because I just love the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. So we have a few items to go, and I know Commissioner Suno has a meeting at 1, and I would like to be done before then. So I'm going to look through some stuff. Do this fast, I think. We are on ongoing business. Commissioner position update. So this is possibly my single most frustrating part of being chair is that I haven't figured out the system. I wish I knew the system, but I don't. You know, I managed to help some of you get on board, but I don't know why I cannot get rolled in. And the challenge is that of our 3 openings, 2 of them are Senate appointed, and I need to get the Senate President's office to ask for an interim appointment from the governor. And just they are not responsive. I send them emails almost weekly. I send emails to the boards and commissions office. I just don't know why. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I try to be so nice. I'm actually going to walk over to the state capitol and pop in both offices and see if I can get any progress, because I've made clear we're having quorum issues because, and we have someone who's been trying for over a year to get in, and that's just not right. But to clarify, we have 2 Senate appointed commissioner positions open and 1 Big Island position open, and we just have 1 applicant at the time. Our administrative assistant position update, as you all know, that our prior assistant is no longer available. And the commission, our commission at least, is not involved in the hiring process at all. And they send out requests for resumes, they get resumes, and they look at them. I don't know if they've had any interviews or not, but once we can finally get someone back, it'll be great. It'll make a lot of this administrative stuff, planning, ticketing, purchasing, and all that stuff a lot easier to deal with if we can get that. All that being said, one of my goals of this meeting was to present a lot of the stuff that we're doing or trying to do or may want to do at the commission. Go through all kinds of stuff from admin aspects to budget to activities, calendars, and everything like that, so that you'd be super excited to put yourselves up to be in a position. And let me just show you something real quick here. The formal legislation that created our commission, it says very little. It talks about terms, reason for having us, et cetera, that there's voting and non-voting. And then it basically just says the chair and vice chair. These are the only actual elected positions. And as I mentioned before, finance chair and secretary were created because of our lack of having admin assistants to help with that. So with a goal of electing a new chair and a new vice chair, I'm super, super excited that someone has put their name up. I just can't tell you how happy I am about it. And I think it's going to be great for this commission and everything. So I will actually make a nomination for this person. Just put their name up for chair. I would like to nominate Commissioner Marty Oliphant to be our chair moving forward. Thank you so much for your name up there. I can't say that I know formally exactly how to do elections. I don't know if we vote on one slate um, or each position individually, and so I don't know exactly what to do next. If there's any thoughts on that.
I second that.
Thank you.
I believe, this is Alan, I believe you have to do it separately.
Okay. So I will put out there if there's any other nominations or discussion on our initial nominee. I'm going to ask for a vote. All those in favor of, I hope we can all vote, Commissioner Oliphant as chair. Please raise your hand.
Sure.
So among our quorum, it is unanimous. Aaron, I don't really remember if something else official has to happen.
I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah, but Alden is
'Cause I
right. You
know
should do, sorry, you should do elections for each of the different positions. Yeah.
um, yeah, because I know I ran meetings for a while before becoming the chair. I just don't think, okay, great. I would like to open the floor up for the vice chair position. And I'm asking for you not to nominate yourselves.
We nominate ourselves.
Or you can let me know and I can nominate you. If you are interested, Commissioner Augustine, I would love to nominate you.
I will nominate myself.
I will happily second that.
Vice chair. Did I say that right now?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just so that you guys know, I was not nominated several times in the past, but I'm not eligible.
That's right. You cannot hold an office. Sorry, Alan. It's not you.
I was for about 12 hours one time, and then I was told I couldn't. So, well, that was the second time, I think. Well, the first time they said, oh, after 12 hours, they realized that I couldn't run for an off or hold an office. So they said, you're out.
Oh. Okay.
And
Is there any discussion?
We tried it again later, but it never worked. So
Interesting. So can we vote on the nomination for Mark?
yes.
Yes. Any discussion? Otherwise, I will call for the vote. Okay. All in favor, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Augustine, I would like you to participate in the vote. Thank you. Okay, it is unanimous, and we have a new vice chair as well. Vice Chair Augustine. Congratulations, guys. I'm excited. I think that I think it's really opened the direction that you could take this commission, and if there's a lot you can do or not do or stuff like that. I think use that freedom. I really think there's a lot that you can do. Thank you. That is it for our meetings today. Just going back to our agenda to close this out. Our next meetings are here, 10/17, 11/21, 20, 12/19. As it stands right now, October 17th is the only meeting that will have quorum. Hopefully we can get some progress or schedule can change. I think we have a lot of next steps here. I've written a lot of notes to help move forward. I'd like to ask if anyone has any final thoughts.
Chair, I did email Dennis Arkaki and Susie Chan Oakland about Children and Youth Day. I was hoping they would respond before we got off this meeting, but as soon as I know something, I'll let you guys know.
That'd be
I'll
great.
let you
Thank
know.
you.
Thank you.
Just wanted to say,
Yeah.
just wanted to say, great meeting, Jeff. Great meeting, everyone, and looking forward. Congratulations to everyone.
Yeah, thank you. And I also want to lift up Jeff in this time. And we know how hard you work every time we have an email from you, and just your diligence and your ability to keep persevering through it all. So thank you so much for that too, Jeff. And you did an amazing job. And sad that you are not going to be in the chair role, but you're still going to be on the commission, right? Okay.
I'm not ready to leave the commission. I have 2 years left. Thank you. And really to each of you individually, as well as our former commissioners still online, Vika, really want to thank you because you guys are great people, and I'm so happy to have you guys on the commission. We have had some struggles with past commissioners, but you guys, um, I think there's a lot of potential. I'm excited about it. I've been doing this for a while, and I think fresh leadership is really a good thing for any organization. So I'm looking forward to all of it. Thank you, new chair Olafon and new vice chair Augustina. Thanks to all of you. I'm gonna um, make a motion that we end the meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Any further comments?
All we need is Kavika to come back now.
Yeah, you know what? You can't because that two-term limit. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, you guys, all in favor of adjourning the meeting? Thank you, guys.
Aye.
You also. Oh yes. Oh, thank you to Aaron.
Oh,
And
I was just, I was just gonna say aye. You know, I was in favor of ending the meeting. I sincerely appreciate your effort and thank you for, I know it's frustrating, but